the show is really aimed at, and I know that others have tried to go more on the glamour side of things and more on the celebrity kind of things. We have a place to cover that, as well as philanthropy, and as well as, and I'm not, trying to make us sound better. I'm just trying to point out that we wanted to cover the variety of Boston to show what's really here.
Then that leaves a huge gap for mass movie mavens on TV. Will you help us access the stars for that?
We've got our eyes on the prize. That's it. Watch out.
It's great. I mean,
and we smell nice. We smell very nice. Not that matters, but
Boston right now is kicking. I mean, all of our sports teams are great, and they're not
except for the
playoffs,
Celtics and the
Bruins.
But they're
Big
still.
Poppy isn't doing so well either.
And all your teams were that good. I mean, everyone should be jealous. There's other people out there that don't have teams that are even half as good.
Could be.
There's also a huge contingent in L.A., and I don't know if I'm surprising anybody or just stating the obvious. There's a huge contingent in L.A. that is truly Boston looking.
Right.
And over the years, they've had to go there to make, and I don't just mean the obvious people of the David E. Kellys or Marcia Cross, but then you cannot point to any show and not see 2 or 3 people without a Boston connection with the colleges or whatever else. And I think that some of the smarter people over the years, and oddly they have not been all in the same political party or all of the same mindset. I think that a Mitt Romney supported, film for the obvious reason of he supported business. I think maybe Paul Cellucci liked it because he liked the movie side.
Right.
I think Deval Patrick has a different agenda because he looks for a lot more of that so-called clean kind of businesses and enterprises where you don't have to have big infrastructure. It just sort of comes to you. Frankly, I don't care why they pick it. I just care that they support it. Mayor Menino's gone out there and, done how much to keep, that going. But when you cannot point to a show, Desperate Housewives, okay, Neil McDonough, Marcia Cross, moving on. You know what I mean? Like 2 other people who have been on this stage. Dana Delaney's been here. You know what? You cannot point to anything without seeing it. One of my favorite things is, I was driving a few years ago, about 10 years ago, up Wilshire, coming out of Santa Monica anyway, heading towards Beverly Hills or Beverly Hills adjacent. And I got about 4 blocks up. And that whole area, by the way, Beverly Hills, was named by a guy from Beverly, Massachusetts.
I know
That's why
well.
all those streets are named Roxbury and Arlington and Amherst and all that.
Birthplace of the U.S. Navy.
Exactly. There we go.
I know a little bit about Beverly.
Fascinating tidbits you get from mass movie mavens. Oh, my God.
And driving up the street, I got about 4 blocks past, as things happen to you in LA if you've ever driven out there, and I went, what the heck did I just see? Turned around, came back. On the side of the building of Sonny McLean's is this Irish, the 3, the shamrock with the 3 sides with all 4 pro logos, the old Pat the Patriot at the time, the old logos. And that place, you walk in there, you'd think you're in Massachusetts. I mean, literally, they have BC hockey on at 2 in the afternoon.
Oh no, there are a lot of Boston bars there.
Lots of Boston people everywhere you go. I went out there for the American Film Market, and I ran into 10 people from Boston, not even with previously scheduled meetings. I just ran into them.
Yeah, and I was out there recently too, and I'm trying to make an East Coast West Coast connection here, and I will tell you that in the works, and is very likely to happen, is a Boston slate of films. These are Boston people who are now in LA. They want to connect back with Boston, put together a nice fat fund, and produce Boston-based films with real Boston people and real Boston environments showcasing the gem of the city that we have here.
We like that.
And it's very exciting. And they
Graham King, who walked away with an Oscar and was there when Marty Scorsese won his first Oscar for
Marty Scorsese.
They all call him Marty. Every person who worked on that
buddy
movie.
Marty, I love it.
He's not my friend. I would call him Mr. Scorsese when I saw him on the red carpet. But every person who worked on that film, what do they call him? They're like, Marty cast me for this. Marty cast me for that. And then same with Ashcliff or whatever we're supposed to call, Shutter Island.
Right.
But Graham King, he works with Bill Monahan, and they have, they're now literally producing partners. There is no place that I could point my compass and not find somebody.
Well, speaking of Marty Schwartz, who was the second AD on Pink Panther 2, his son is a dancer with the Boston Ballet, and that man actually moved back here after doing Pink Panther and tried to get a production going because he wants to be in Massachusetts. He loves it here. He loves the town. He loves all the people that he worked with on Pink Panther 2. He did get hired back to LA in another gig, but I think we're going to be seeing more of that Marty very soon. He's a great guy to work with, a really big supporter of local production.
Speaking of local production, have you been cast yet, Chuck, in the Fighter? Have you gone
wait,
yet?
wait a minute. First of all, I heard that the Fighter Fallen, and then the Fallen was going to be made in place of the Fighter, and now is there a movie, The Fallen Fighter? I mean, what the heck's going on? Is this thing really going to happen, or what?
Fighter, I think, is going to happen because Wahlberg has been training for 2 years. 2 years to play this
He's got to
part.
show off that body.
And they,
I
don't know. I can't comment on that. But good luck to him.
Chris has been training for 2 years, too.
I have. We talked about subs earlier. Joan, why don't you tell us about what you're doing on television these days?
Oh, my God. Well, you guys call yourselves the mass movie mavens. I consider myself a media maven because I am multimedia.
Great.
As I mentioned earlier, I'm an announcer. What's that?
Yeah, I think
throwing
she just,
down the trump
I
card.
think multi-platform outdoes,
No. Here we go.
so.
We are the mass media mavens, and you guys are the movie mavens. Come on, bring it. Bring it.
Bring
No,
what?
I just say that because I have been involved in so many different aspects of the. What was that? Welcome
to the team.
I thought you said the T as in MBTA. Yeah, that sort of thing happens all the time. Showdowns, right? Anyway, so starting in radio way back in I won't mention the year, but I used to co-host the morning show on KISS. It was a long time
With Marconi, right?
and then
it was on AM.
Yep. There's nothing wrong with that.
I know.
Still is
AM
on.
stereo.
It still is on AM, isn't it?
Yeah.
WXKS is still on AM.
Yeah.
They
have
use the frequency now for something else, but they still had to.
It's ethnic, I think.
Well,
Yeah.
I was there when it was on AM, but when FM was launched and made a meteoric rise to become the number one station in Boston. It remains the number one station in Boston. Did stints over at Channel 7. I was on with Bill O'Reilly on a daily magazine show, and then I was over at Channel 4. I did 3 Christmas seasons in a row, having the extreme pleasure of co-hosting with Tom Bergeron, who just don't get nicer and more genuine than Tom Bergeron. What a doll face. And then I launched the Mass Media Alliance, and so for, that was a very strong organization for many years. It kind of petered out after I left, and so, as I said earlier, it's great to see you picking up the torch to network New England, make us strong, have a strong presence. But in addition to that...